After helping hundreds of applicants get into top law schools, I've realized that all the top applicants have this one thing in common. My applicants who got into schools like Harvard, NYU, Chicago, Yale, Stanford were typically not getting admitted because of the experiences or activities they thought were impressive. In fact, they were often focusing on the wrong experiences. See if you can spot the pattern. One applicant came to me wanting to focus his application around a typical pre-law resume, some political clubs, some student leadership positions, and maybe a pre-law internship. But as we dug deeper, I realized what actually differentiated him was that he had managed hundreds of other student canvassers. He actually even managed a multi-million-dollar budget under student leadership. Together, we unpacked how through that work, he had seen how difficult it was to organize people around a common idea, and how policy goals only matter if you can actually organize people to implement them. He ended up getting accepted to Harvard Law. Another client assumed her application would revolve around her interest in public policy and politics. But as we talked through her experiences, I realized the more compelling story there was that she had spent years hiring, training, and mentoring young professionals across the country. Once we explored those experiences more deeply, it became clear that she had developed through these experiences a more nuanced understanding of why some people thrive when given opportunities and why others face barriers and challenges that have little to do with talent or effort. She was accepted to USC. Here's what I've realized after doing this countless times for almost a decade. The strongest applicants weren't that way because they did more or even had the most prestigious experiences, and because they could extract the most meaningful insights from their experiences. And those insights helped explain who they are, what they care about, and why that leads them to law. Honestly, this is where most applicants struggle. They either focus on the wrong experience entirely or they stop at the activity itself, instead of asking what that experience taught them, what it reveals about them, and how it's connected to their journey to law school. Now, this definitely doesn't mean you need some extraordinary professional experience to get into a top law school. I've worked with applicants whose significant experience really did come from mock trials, student government, debate, research, blue-collar jobs, family obligations, and all kind of experiences they initially underestimated. Again, the difference wasn't the experience itself, it was our ability to unpack what that experience revealed. We didn't treat those experiences like student government, debate, mock trial, all of those things as activities. We treated them as evidence of how that applicant thinks, what motivates them, what they've learned, and ultimately how those experiences have shaped their trajectory to law. So stop asking, how can I add more experiences to my resume? And start asking, which experiences have shaped me the most? What insights have I gained from them? And why do those insights point me toward law? Admissions officers aren't looking for the applicant who did the most, or even who is the most prestigious. They're looking for the applicant who can connect the dot between their experiences, the insights they've gained, and why those experiences led them toward law.